Returning to the point I made with the previous panellists, is there a conflict of interest when it comes to EHCP plans and providing support for children when the same person who's asked to provide the support is also the person who is asked to pay for it? Antoinette, what do you think?
No, I suppose I don't feel that way at all. I used to be a SENCO in a primary school, and now I work in the local authority, and I think that you have to remember the local authority is full of officers and politicians that really want to do the best for their local community. You know, these are officers and politicians who are working tirelessly.
But as you've mentioned, with a huge budget cut, and I'm wondering if there is in the world where we're living in 2019 with the budget cuts that you've already referred to, because of that, not because of people not being well-meaning or decent, is there a conflict of interest?
No, because the person that's making that decision with the budget there is not the person that's literally doing the plan in the school. There is a part of a disconnect. And actually, every child is still seen on an individual basis. And the local authority has the pressure of thinking about all of the children in that system. So I don't see the conflicts of interest in the same way that you do. I can understand why you might think it's an issue, but actually the person holding the budget is not the person going into school making the decisions on that final plan in that way.
Chris, I just wonder whether, with the organisation and with the work that you do you ever find that you're asked by councils to carry out a review which has maybe contradictory objectives? So you've got to save money, but you've also got to improve support for children with SEND. Do you find that happens?
It does happen. Every local authority we work with has got financial difficulties to resolve. And I think the answer to that is to recycle the money into the early stages. So I think it's possible to find solutions, to be creative, to reinvest the money that's available in the system. I don't see it as a conflict necessarily. I think the local authorities do understand the spend across the broad range of provisions. So the high needs block funds the whole graduated range of provisions. If you don't get the local authority taking part in the use and the decisions about the use of that provision, I don't know how you could plan and manage to deliver that graduated range of provision that's required for the area. So I think there's a connection.
Yeah. Charlotte?
So as someone who I suppose is responsible for both bits, I don't feel that there is a conflict. We're all seeking the same outcomes for children. We all recognise...
I'm not questioning how genuine people are, but I'm saying if you have a certain amount of money and all the rest of your council services are being cut to provide that, surely there is a conflict there in saying, as a tension perhaps rather than a conflict, saying that, should I provide this support weekly or monthly? They're real decisions, and I'm asking, is there tension?
I think tension is a helpful word. So there's a tension between the need to provide and the resources available, and the high needs block is massively underfunded, and there's lots of evidence around that. So that is definitely a tension. It doesn't stop us making the right plans for children. I suppose the place where it plays out most obviously is where the plan from a professional perspective would say that the needs can be met in this place, and a parent, despite working as part of a co-produced plan, prefers an alternative and much more expensive place, and that's where we get into that real tension around actually what's best both for the child and also in terms of public purse.
I think within the local authority is exactly the right position for that to be taken, because it allows equity within decision making, so that the people responsible for making the decisions can ensure people with similar needs get similar levels of support. I think the tension is played out much more explicitly in tribunals, where the tribunal is looking at one single decision and doesn't have to think about what impact that decision is going to have the rest of the system. When someone goes to a tribunal and gets a place at a out-of-area placement that costs 3 times what it would cost to provide locally, somebody locally is going to miss out. And tribunals aren't having to take that into account. And those are the really difficult decisions that local authorities on the whole are very good at making.